Yeah, Mishenichnas Adar. Finally, the right one. Yeah, we follow the opinion that Purim is to be celebrated in the second Adar. Why? To put one geula, one redemption next to the next. Purim and Pesach, Adar and Nisan. Rashi says the very same thing with regard to Mishenichnas Adar Martin B'Simcha, because the joy of the nace of Purim and the joy of the nace of Pesach. Purim, Pesach, what a combination. The only thing the two have in common is wine. Pesach. Pesach, the miracles. Be it the plagues, the makas, Kriyas Yamsuf, so much so that the Torah tells us that their purpose was in order that we retell the story to our children and children's children. Hashem established in the world once and for all that it is He who is responsible for nature and can surpass it. Purim? Was there a real miracle in Purim? Did anything supernatural happen? Purim is all. We as Jews who know and understand, we appreciate that Hashem manipulated events. Not only that, but it's only because we read the Megillah that sets it up that way. Who knows if we were around in those days, if we would have been able to figure it out. It was Mordechai, Esther. They had their Ruach HaKodesh. They knew. But the Megillah puts events together that we could have easily missed. You can be sure lots of other things took place during that 9-year period. It was all Nister. It was all hidden behind the scenes. That and Pesach, they're a pair. You got a pair, you got Pesach, you got Purim. You need one next to the other. And then there's the other part that always bothers me. There is a chazal, and of course everything has to be taken within context. But chazal tell us that all of the festivals will cease to exist once Mashiach comes. The miracles that will take place in the ingathering of the exiles will dwarf what happened in Egypt. We got what to look forward to. The Pasuk says, we will no longer talk about Hashem who took us out of Egypt. We'll talk about Hashem who brought all the Jews back home. All the festivals will disappear. One exception. Purim. Now, we understand that there's something very special about Purim, in that it teaches us that even when you can't feel that Hashem is really there for you, He really is. Even under such circumstances. Even means He's there too. He's there too. That's the most important of festivals. He's there too. The grandiose miracles are going to be forgotten, but we're going to celebrate that He's there too. So we've got to get things straight. The Jewish calendar is such that the year begins in Nisan. Kuzari points out that there's a solar calendar and a lunar calendar. We know the West goes by the solar calendar, the East goes by the lunar calendar, and the Kuzari points out that neither one is really right. Because in truth, there are only lunar months and solar years. Nothing happens monthly to the sun. With regard to our position in the sun and what it appears like, there's no change on a monthly basis. In terms of the moon, I guess what we would call a year of the moon is 1 month long. It's 29 and a half days long. Rotation, revolution of the moon takes 29 and a half days. Nothing happens after 12 of them. There's absolutely no significance to 12 months, a year, when you're dealing with the moon. The Torah teaches us that we have lunar months and solar years. We have lunar months. No 30 days half September. You don't have a 28-day month either. Approximately every 29 and a half days, practically speaking, it's when the moon is sighted. But it straightens itself out. Approximately every 29 and a half days we have a month, because that's what a month is. It's the moon. In the days of the Sanhedrin, when the moon was sighted, the new moon, that began the month. How about the year? The year is determined by the seasons. That's solar. HaChodesh Haseh Lochem, the Pasuk says, Nisan, the first month in the spring. The Chodesh Aviv, the first month in the spring. That's the first month of the year. So we begin our months with Nisan. Adar is actually the last month of the year. All right, so we've got a cycle. The first, the last, and even though Purim comes before Pesach, it's really, Purim is at the end, Pesach's at the beginning. But because time is constantly just revolving, the last month comes just before the first month. So let's start with Nisan. It was grandiose. In Nisan, we became the Jewish people. Nisan, we came out of Egypt. We were chosen then, leading up to Shavuos when we got the Torah. The metaphor that's used is one of a marriage. And it started out with a bang. What a honeymoon. We had the plagues. Kriyas Yamsuf, Maimon Har Sinai. The entire Jewish nation heard Hashem speak. We all experienced prophecy. Bit of a hitch, and we spent 40 years together in the desert. Living miracle. Miracle. The water came out of the rock. The food came from heaven. The clouds of glory ironed our clothes. Our clothes grew with us. What a honeymoon. All the rah-rah. A wedding like you've never seen. And then came real life. Then came real life in our history. Our history was not so smooth. Where does the story of Purim fit in? Do you ever see a happily married elderly couple? Their trust and dedication to one another is unshakable. Their understanding of the nuances. They're probably hard of hearing. They got to read each other's minds, but they do it successfully. And they really intuit it because they can't see so well either. There's something there that's so strong. "50, 60 years of marriage. They've been through so much together. They were there for each other. Wow. That's Purim. That's Purim. Without the fanfare. That unshakable trust. The confidence that regardless of what's going on, Hashem's there for us. We don't have to think twice about it. There's a gallows for Mordechai. Nah, it's for Haman. There's a decree against the Jews. Don't worry about it. They'll be killing out the anti-Semites. You trust Hashem. We've been through a lot together. They don't take out their wedding album to remember what it was like. What they're living is so much more powerful. Not as loud, not as colorful, but it's so strong. Every year we celebrate Pesach, we take out the wedding album. We remember what it was like at the beginning. And it was spectacular. What a honeymoon. We retell the miracles. We relive it. With all the excitement. But because of the way the Jewish calendar works, we get to celebrate Purim just before that. And that's what's really going on today. We're in Galas. The miracles aren't open. We know Hashem's there for us. We know it. Purim and Pesach go together. All the excitement of Pesach is really expressed in Purim in an even more powerful way, but a lot more low-key. And that's why we're filled with simcha. Marbin b'simcha. We're filled with simcha because this is the time of year we recognize what stage we're at in our marriage with Hashem. He's there for us unconditionally. He's there for us when we can't find Him. He's there for us when it appears as though He's working against us. It's unshakable. And that's a great way. That's a great way to prepare yourself for taking out the wedding album. Put things in perspective. You're not just reminiscing. You're not just talking about ancient history. It's going on today in a different form. Like Purim, in disguise. Hashem is here for us no less than when He split the sea. No less. He hides. He won't show it. Are you kidding? After everything we've been through together, the relationship is stronger than ever. Without Purim, Pesach is something of the past. With Purim, you're not just reminiscing. You're appreciating that all of that is true today, but in disguise. So marvin b'simcha. Marvin b'simcha, feel that closeness. See the miracles in all the hiding. Dance and be happy. Hashem loves us and is there for us. Whether you know it or not, feel it, rejoice. No less than in the days of Yetzias Mitzrayim. And yes, Purim, in disguise. All dressed up as something else. That's why we celebrate Purim in the second Adar. It's got to be next to Pesach. Have a happy Adar for real and a wonderful Nisan.